They see already. Good morning, all of you. Can you hear me? I can't hear you anyway. So where is Meghna? Meghna didn't come today. All are ready? How are you all? Okay, anyway, so today's topic is Haemophilus. Okay, today's topic is Haemophilus. So about the morphology of Haemophilus, first of all, we'll read. Okay, they are small bacilli. What are bacilli? They are rod shaped, right? So these are small bacilli. So they are cocobacillary forms. Cocobacillary means what? Small bacilli are called as cocobacilli. So as they are small, they are called as cocobacillary forms. Okay, and in sputum they are cocobacillary form, and in CSF they are long filamentous form. Okay, in sputum they are cocobacillary form, and in CSF they are long filamentous form. And of course they are gram negative, and in young cultures they are seen as cocobacillary form, and in old cultures they are seen as pleomorphic forms. What are pleomorphic forms? Pleomorphic means they have different shapes. Okay, so in old cultures they are pleomorphic in shape, and they are non-motile and they are non-sporing. Okay, they are having flagella or not? No, because they are not having flagella, they are non-motile and they are non-sporing, and they, of course, they exhibit pleomorphism, and they require, the important feature in this Haemophilus is, remember this, they require one or both of two accessory growth factors. One of the important and peculiar character for Haemophilus is they require accessory growth factors. See here, it is accessory growth factors, X and V. Okay, either they require both the factors X and V, or either X or V. This you have to remember. Okay, so Haemophilus influenzae or Haemophilus, they require accessory growth factors X and V. Okay, then they are aerobic and can also grow in anaerobic condition. Okay, the optimum temperature for their growth is 37 degrees centigrade, and some of the strains they require 10% carbon dioxide. Some strains they require 10% carbon dioxide. Okay, then blood agar. So blood agar has factor V. Blood agar is not having any factor, right? So it cannot grow in blood agar. So we have to incorporate some factor V or factor X, so that our Haemophilus can grow in blood agar. We'll see. Okay, in further slides we'll see how we can grow them. The infectious forms are capsulated. Most of the infectious forms of Haemophilus, they are capsulated. Okay, one more point to remember here is the infectious forms are capsulated. Okay, so then we'll see about some of the history about this Haemophilus bacilli. Okay, what happened in 1889, a influenza pandemic was seen. Okay, in 1889 to 92, influenza pandemic was seen. Pfeiffer, a scientist, he discovered these cocobacillary forms of Haemophilus and said that these are responsible for the pandemic. Pfeiffer said that the pandemic which was in 1889 to 92 was due to this Haemophilus bacilli. Okay, so it is also known as Pfeiffer's bacilli. Pfeiffer's bacilli because Pfeiffer discovered this bacilli and also known as influenza bacilli. Okay, but later on what happened? Another two scientists, Smith and Laidlaw, what they say that this Haemophilus influenza bacilli is not responsible for the pandemic, influenza pandemic, but influenza virus is responsible. Did you understand? See, before they said that this influenza bacteria is responsible for the influenza pandemic in 1889 to 92. But later on, Smith and Laidlaw, they said that bacteria is not responsible, whereas influenza virus is responsible. Okay, so this is virus. This what we are reading is bacteria. Smith and Laidlaw said that the pandemic was, the causative agent of the pandemic was influenza virus, not this bacteria. Okay, this is a small history about Haemophilus. So to see that it is a cocobacillary form and it is gram-negative, non-motile. Important point is they require both or one of the growth factors X and V. Okay, understood? Now, some of the species of Haemophilus. There are different species of Haemophilus. Okay, there are different species of Haemophilus, like Haemophilus influenzae or Haemophilus influenza. This is the most important human pathogen. Okay, it causes most important human diseases. Okay, so they are Haemophilus influenza, that to type B is an important human pathogen. Okay, then Haemophilus ducreyi. These are different species of Haemophilus. Okay, Haemophilus influenza, Haemophilus ducreyi, Haemophilus parainfluenza, Haemophilus erythrophilus, Haemophilus aegyptius. Okay, these are different species of Haemophilus. What are the different species? Haemophilus influenza, Haemophilus ducreyi, Haemophilus parainfluenza, Haemophilus erythrophilus, Haemophilus aegyptius. These are different species of Haemophilus. Out of which Haemophilus influenza type B is very important one. It is the most pathogenic one. Okay, and Haemophilus ducreyi also causes chancroid, which is a sexually transmitted pathogen. It causes sexually transmitted disease called chancroid. Okay, Haemophilus ducreyi. We will see later on more about these all. Okay, so then Haemophilus parainfluenza, it causes pneumonia and endocarditis. Haemophilus erythrophilus, it causes pneumonia and endocarditis. Haemophilus aegyptius causes pink eye or purulent conjunctivitis. Okay. Then, so coming to the factors which are responsible for the growth of this Haemophilus, that is factor X and factor V. What is the difference between these two? Factor X is heat stable, whereas factor V is heat labile. Okay, factor X is heat stable and factor V is heat labile. And chemically, factor X is composed of hemine and factor V is composed of bacterial vitamin. You can remember this as bacterial V, vitamin, V for vitamin. So V for vitamin. Okay, bacterial vitamin and also coenzyme. Okay, then this factor X is involved in aerobic respiration, whereas factor V is responsible for, it is involved in anaerobic respiration. Okay. Then one more thing you have to remember is that factor V is produced by fungi and bacteria, some fungi and bacteria. Remember that factor V is produced by some fungi and bacteria. The bacteria which produces factor V is Staphylococcus aureus. Okay, so this factor V is produced by some of the fungi and bacteria, and one of the example of bacteria which produces factor V is Staphylococcus aureus. Which bacteria produces factor V? Staphylococcus aureus. Okay, Staphylococcus aureus produces factor V. What is Staphylococcus aureus? Gram-positive cocci. Okay. Then very important topic here is satellitism. This usually comes in your short notes or very short note. Okay, satellitism. What is it? Satellitism. Try to understand this. What we are going to do here is, first we have to take this is a blood agar plate. Okay, so we are taking a petri dish containing blood agar. Understood till now? First step is we have to take a blood agar plate. Then what we have to do? We have to inoculate Haemophilus influenza. Okay, we have to inoculate Haemophilus influenza. So Haemophilus influenza is there all over. Then what we have to do? We have to take Staphylococcus aureus and streak along this line. Okay. First step is to take the petri dish containing blood agar. Then what we have to do? We have to inoculate Haemophilus influenza. Then what we have to do? We have to make a streak or a line having Staphylococcus aureus. So what I said you, Staphylococcus aureus will produce what? Factor V. So it will produce factor V. Staphylococcus aureus will produce factor V. So what will happen? Near to this line, more factor will be seen. And if we go outward, the factor V will be less. Due to capillary action, due to diffusion, it is going less. Okay. So this is the line containing Staphylococcus aureus, and it produces factor V, which is responsible for the growth of this Haemophilus influenza. If we are not going to streak this Staphylococcus aureus, no growth will be seen of this Haemophilus influenza because it needs factor V. So as we are streaking a line of Staphylococcus aureus and incubating it overnight, what will come in when we'll come to next day, what we'll see? We'll see larger colonies near the line and smaller colonies as we move outwards. Why? Because more factor V is present near this streak, near this line of Staphylococcus aureus. Understood? Near this line, more factor V is present. As we move outward, the factor V is less. So smaller colonies are seen. And near the line, more bigger colonies are seen. So it looks like a satellite. Okay, so it is known as the phenomenon of satellitism. Understood this? Understood? Once again, I'll say you, what we have to do is, we have to take a blood agar plate and to it Haemophilus influenza is streaked. Then what we have to do? We have to make one line or one streaking of Staphylococcus aureus which produces factor V. And we have to incubate it. What we will see? We will see larger colonies near the line of Staphylococcus aureus, and as we move outside, the colonies will be small and the appearance is like a satellite. Okay, so this phenomenon is known as satellitism. Understood? I can't see whether you understand or not because I'm not able to see your video. Anyway, so this is satellitism. Bigger colonies are near the line of Staphylococcus aureus, and as we move outwards, the colonies are smaller. So this phenomenon is known as satellitism. Okay. See, your bigger colonies are near Staphylococcus aureus streaking and smaller colonies outwards. Okay. Then next, I'm running out of time, 10:30 already. Okay, so Haemophilus influenza. Now coming to detail about Haemophilus influenza. They are Coccobacilli. We all know that they are Coccobacilli, gram-negative, non-motile. Okay. Okay. So mode of transmission. It is transmitted through droplet infection and discharge from the upper respiratory tract during the infectious period. Okay. And the incubation period is very less, like 2 to 4 days. Okay. Then infectious period is as long as the organism is present in the nasal discharge. Okay. Okay. Now coming to biochemical reactions. Biochemical reaction of Haemophilus influenza, which is a bacteria. Don't get confused with the influenza virus. Okay. That virus part is different. This is Haemophilus influenza bacteria. Okay. Now we'll read about biochemical reaction. They are catalase positive, oxidase positive, and they ferment glucose, xylose with production of acid, and lactose, sucrose, mannitol are not fermented. Okay. Then they reduce nitrates to nitrites. They reduce nitrates to nitrites. Then based on these chemical reactions, they are divided into 8 biotypes, whereas biotype 1 is frequent in meningitis. Okay. There are 8 biotypes are there based on these reactions. In biotype 1 is more frequent in meningitis. Okay, the resistant. Then coming to the resistant of this bacteria. They are very fragile, or they are very delicate bacteria. This bacteria, Haemophilus influenza, they are very delicate. They can be destroyed by heating, refrigeration, drying, disinfectants. They are very delicate. Okay, so we can preserve for about 1 month on chocolate agar. Why we are using chocolate agar, I'll say you later. Okay, on chocolate agar slopes in screw cap bottles. So they can be preserved on chocolate agar slopes in screw cap bottles. Then for long-term preservation, culture may be kept in lyophilized form. What is lyophilization or lyophilized form? It is freeze, drying, drying, freeze. Okay. Then antigenic properties. Antigenic properties. What contributes to the antigenic property of Haemophilus? Why this Haemophilus is antigenic? Okay. Why the Haemophilus is antigenic or pathogenic is nature? Because due to these 3 things. Due to these 3 things, they are antigenic. What are the 3 things? Capsular polysaccharide, first one. Second is outer membrane protein. And the third one is lipo-oligosaccharide, LOS. Okay, these are the 3 things which contribute to the antigenicity of Haemophilus. What are the 3 things? Capsular polysaccharide. Second one is outer membrane protein. Third one is lipo-oligosaccharide. Okay, out of which the most important one is capsular polysaccharide. You know that the pathogenic ones are capsulated. Okay, what does this capsule contains? This capsular polysaccharide, which contributes to the antigenicity of Haemophilus. Then Pittman classified into 6 capsular strains. What did Pittman do? He classified these capsular polysaccharide into 6 types. He typed into A to F, A, B, C, D, E, F, 6 types. Okay, A to F, A, B, C, D, E, F. 6 types are there where the most invasive, most pathogenic form belong to type B. This you have to remember. The most invasive form of Haemophilus influenza is type B. Okay, type B is the most pathogenic form. Others are also pathogenic, but type B is the more pathogenic. Type B. Okay. Then meningitis also belong to type B strains. Type B, why they are type B? Why they are pathogenic, more antigenic? Because it contains pentose sugar like ribose and ribitol instead of hexoses. Other types, they contain hexoses. Okay, other types, they contain hexoses. Whereas type B, they contain pentose sugars like ribose and ribitol. For this reason, they are more antigenic in nature. Now, this capsular polyribosyl ribitol phosphate, so it is the composition of the capsule. What is the composition of capsule? Polyribosyl, see here, polyribosyl ribitol phosphate. Remember this, polyribosyl ribitol phosphate, PRP. This is the composition of the capsule of Haemophilus. Now this, why it is important? Because this is used for production of vaccine. PRP, that is Haemophilus influenza type B, PRP, Haemophilus influenza type B, polyribosyl ribitol phosphate is used for the production of vaccine. What does it do? It produces the antibodies, which is bactericidal, and it is protective for us. Okay, so this Hib PRP is used for vaccine. So what does the vaccine contain? Hib vaccine. Have you heard about Hib vaccine? HIV Hib vaccine. This contains Hib PRP. What does, now you know that what is that? Haemophilus influenza type B PRP, that is a component of capsule. Polyribosyl ribitol phosphate. Okay. Then those were typeable ones. Type A to F, A, B, C, D, E, F, they are typeable ones. The strains lacking a capsule cannot be typed. The strains which are not having capsule, this cannot be typed. So they are known as non-typeable ones. Non-typeable strains. Okay, they also cause some clinical infections. Outer membrane protein antigens of H influenza type B have been classified into 13 subtypes. Again, outer membrane protein of type B is again divided into 13 subtypes. Then lastly, the lipo-oligosaccharides, which are antigenically complex. So these are the three things. These are the three antigens which contribute to the antigenicity. Capsular polysaccharide, outer membrane protein, OMP, lipo-oligosaccharides, that is LOS. Out of which capsular polysaccharide is very important one, and it can be divided into A to F type by Pittman. It was classified by Pittman, and the most invasive type is type B. And the vaccine is made up of what? Hib PRP, Haemophilus influenza B type B, polyribosyl ribitol phosphate. Okay. Then coming to pathogenicity. What are all the diseases this Haemophilus cause? Okay, this is mostly a human pathogen. It very rarely causes pathogenicity in animals. Mostly a human pathogen. Okay, then If we knowingly in an experiment, if we inoculate large doses of this large doses of Haemophilus into this mice, guinea pig and rabbit, they may show some activity. They may show some antigenic activity. Okay. So the Haemophilus influenza, it is of the diseases due to Haemophilus influenza is of two types: invasive forms and non-invasive forms. Okay. Haemophilus influenza diseases are of two types: invasive forms and non-invasive forms. So, the diseases which is caused by Haemophilus is of two types: invasive form and non-invasive form. What is invasive form? They spread through blood. Whereas non-invasive is they spread through local invasions, or they affect the mucosal surface. They don't go till the blood. Okay, invasive form, they spread through blood. Examples of invasive forms are meningitis, arthritis, endocarditis, conjunctivitis, pericarditis. Okay, whereas examples of this non-invasive forms are otitis media, sinusitis. Okay, invasive forms are mostly seen in children, whereas non-invasive in adults. These are caused by capsulated strains. These are caused by non-invasive non-invasive are caused by non-capsulated strains. So the diseases caused by Haemophilus is of two types: invasive type and non-invasive type. Invasive type means it will affect the blood, whereas non-invasive type will only affect the mucosal surfaces. Okay, invasive type it is seen in children, and non-invasive type it is seen in adults, and invasive type it is caused by capsulated strains, whereas non-invasive type are caused by non-capsulated strains. Okay, then clinical presentations, they'll show pneumonia, septic arthritis, meningitis, laryngo. Okay, coming to meningitis, bacilli reach the meninges from nasopharynx through the bloodstream. Okay, it is most commonly seen in 2 months to 3 years of age. Then laryngoepiglottitis. Laryngoepiglottitis, it is also known as croup. Croup. Okay, C-R-O-U-P. Croup. What is it? It is acute inflammation in the epiglottis region. Okay, it is seen in the epiglottis region. Obstructive laryngitis. This is seen in mostly children above 2 years. Okay, they have a noisy breathing. Inflammation lead to the mucus formation. These are some of the home remedies for croup, like steam inhalation, moistening the air, okay, prevent dehydration, essential oil massage, then sponge bath, honey. These are all the home remedies for croup. Okay, the larynx has been obstructed. It can be fatal too. Okay, this is swollen epiglottis. This is a normal epiglottis, this is swollen epiglottis. Edema is seen. Suppurative lesions. Okay. So, Haemophilus influenza type B, these all are produced. These all are caused. Like meningitis, epiglottitis, pneumonia, osteomyelitis, arthritis, cellulitis, bacteremia. Okay, these all are caused due to Haemophilus infection. Now coming to the lab diagnosis. Coming to the lab diagnosis, what are the specimens to be collected for the lab diagnosis? First of all, it is CSF, is meningitis, blood, throat swab, sputum, pus, aspirates from joint and middle ears. So depending on the part which is affected, we'll collect the specimen. So what are the specimens? CSF, blood, throat swab, sputum, pus, aspirates from joints and middle ear. Whatever part is affected, from that part we are going to collect the specimen. Then after collection, what we have to do? It has to be collected in the sterile container. Okay. Of course, like all the specimen, it should be collected in the sterile container and under aseptic condition. Under aseptic condition. They are very sensitive. I said they are very sensitive or very delicate. So it should not be refrigerated. If the sample is kept in refrigerator, it will die. So it should not be refrigerated. And it should be transported to the laboratory, to the lab, without any delay. Okay, and of course, it should be inoculated on culture media immediately because they are very delicate. Okay. Then first of all, we'll go for direct microscopy, gram staining, immunofluorescence, then antigen detections by latex agglutination, co-agglutination, counter immunoelectrophoresis. You can also go for culture. Okay, CSF culture, blood culture, sputum culture, and we can see the colony morphology and staining. Then coming to culture. Okay, how we will culture it? So first coming to the nutrient agar. Okay, first coming to the nutrient agar. See here, the nutrient agar. Nutrient agar does not contain the growth factors. So it will not grow in this. What we have to do is, we have to add the disc of X and V. Okay, if we add the growth factors X and V, they will grow on nutrient agar. Similarly, in blood agar itself, it will not grow because it is not having any growth factor. What we have to do? We have to grow with Staphylococcus aureus, which produces which factor? Factor V. Staphylococcus aureus produces factor V, which can be streaked in blood agar. Then we can go for the growth of Haemophilus. Or what we can do is, we can take chocolate agar. What is chocolate agar? We add chocolate to it. No. What we do is, in chocolate agar, we heat the blood agar to 80 to 90 degrees centigrade for 15 to 20 minutes. It is heated blood agar. Chocolate agar is, you already know this, right? So what we have to do is, we have to heat this blood agar to 80 to 90 degrees centigrade for 15 to 20 minutes. What will happen? Factor V will be released. Okay, factor V will be released from the cells, which will help in the growth of Haemophilus. So what we can do? Chocolate agar is used for the growth, blood agar with Staphylococcus aureus, nutrient agar with disc of X and V are used. Then for sputum, what if we collect the sputum, what we have to do? We have to homogenize by treatment of pancreatine. Okay, we have to homogenize it first of all by treating with pancreatine or by shaking with sterile water and glass beads for 15 minutes. So first we have to, if we collect the sputum, we have to homogenize it. One more special media is used. One more special media is used, which is Lewinthal's medium. Remember this, Lewinthal's medium and Field's agar. These two are special media for the growth of Haemophilus influenza. What are those? Lewinthal's medium and Field's agar. In Lewinthal's medium, what happened? It is like boiling and filtering a mixture of blood and nutrient agar. Okay, they produce translucent colonies. And in Field's agar, it is by adding a peptic digest of blood to nutrient agar. Okay, and it will show copious growth, means more growth is seen in Field's agar. And it also requires 5 to 10% of carbon dioxide. 5 to 10% of carbon dioxide. So these are the two mediums, special media for the growth of Haemophilus. What are they? Lewinthal's medium and Field's agar. Okay, this is Levithal's medium. This feels agar. Then treatment, coming to treatment, cefotaxime, ceftazidime are the drug of choices, and ampicillin, cotrimoxazole are also used for respiratory infections. Amoxicillin, clavulanate are also used. Okay, prevention, epidemiology and prevention. I have to rush, only 15 minutes are left. Okay, so epidemiology and prevention, infection transmitted by respiratory route. Okay, and immunity is type specific. What immunity we'll get after an infection is type specific. Okay, active immunization with Hib PRP vaccine is indicated for type B strains only. So we can take the active immunization, the vaccine of Hib PRP. Okay, Hib vaccine. Conjugate vaccine, conjugate Hib PRP is conjugate means with other vaccines also. Conjugate vaccines is used for younger children. Okay. The maternal antibodies are protective and is transmitted from mother to child. So mother also contributes to the antibodies. But slowly the antibody wanes out. Then the child becomes susceptible to this Haemophilus. So Hib vaccine is given. So what is the schedule of Hib vaccine? See, if a child is given, if the child has been started the vaccine before 6 months, 3 doses are needed and 1 booster dose is needed at 15 months. Before 6 months, if the baby is given 3 doses with 1. If between 6 months to 12 months, 6 months to 12 months, it is 2 doses plus 1 booster dose at 15 months. If someone has forgotten to give this vaccine, after 12 months means 1 dose is enough. No more booster doses is required. And in 6 months, before 6 months, if the baby is given the 3 doses, between the 2 doses, 1 month gap should be given, and first dose should be given after 1.5 months. Okay. After the gap between each dose should be 1 month. So this is the schedule of Hib vaccine. Before 6 months, 3 doses plus 1 dose at 15, 1 dose booster dose, which is at 15 months. If the baby is given dose at 6 to 12 months, then 2 doses plus 1 dose. Then if he or she, the baby is given at after 12 months, 1 dose plus no booster dose is given. Okay, this is the vaccination. Now we have completed Haemophilus influenza. We'll see little about this. Other Haemophilus like Haemophilus aegyptius. Okay, Haemophilus aegyptius. It is also known as Koch Weeks bacillus. So we have completed Haemophilus influenza. Now we'll see other species of Haemophilus, that is Haemophilus aegyptius. It is also known as Koch Weeks bacilli. It is non-capsulated. It is highly contagious form. It causes highly contagious forms of conjunctivitis called as pink eye. Okay, it is also the causative agent of Brazilian purpuric fever. You have to remember all these names. Koch Weeks bacilli, pink eye. It causes pink eye, conjunctivitis, and causative agent of Brazilian purpuric fever, BPF. Okay. Pink eye. So what is the causative agent? Haemophilus aegyptius. Then coming to another one, another species of Haemophilus, Haemophilus ducreyi is also important one. Okay, ducreyi, the scientist demonstrated this Haemophilus ducreyi in a canthroid. It is soft sore on genitalia. Okay. They show bipolar staining, and they are the bacteria, the bacilli, they are arranged in small groups. They are present with parallel chains, which look like school of fish. A group of fish is known as a school of fish. Okay, so they look like school of fish or railroad track appearance. So this school of fish appearance or railroad track appearance is seen in Haemophilus ducreyi, and it causes cancroid in genital. See, this is the school of fish-like appearance, like a group are present together. Okay, here, can you see? They are present in a group. Like here it is seen like rail track appearance. Okay, so rail track appearance or group of fish appearance is seen in what? Which Haemophilus? Haemophilus ducreyi, and it causes cancroid. So cancroid, see this. Okay, cancroid in the genitalia. It is an STD. Okay, cancroid. So it is a soft sore. It is a venereal disease. Tender, non-indurating, irregular ulcers on genitalia. The lymph nodes are enlarged and painful here. Then coming to Haemophilus parainfluenza. Haemophilus parainfluenza, it requires factor 5 and not, factor V and not the factor X. Okay, they are normal commensals in upper respiratory tract. So they may cause bacterial endocarditis, urethritis, and acute pharyngitis. This Haemophilus parainfluenza, then Haemophilus hemolyticus, it requires both factor X and V. They are also commensal of upper respiratory tract. Strains that do not require factor X have been designated as Haemophilus parahemolyticus. Okay, those who don't require factor X are known as Haemophilus parahemolyticus. This is Haemophilus hemolyticus. Those who don't require X factor is known as Haemophilus parahemolyticus. Then Haemophilus aphrophilus. They require factor X but not factor V. They cause bacterial endocarditis, brain abscess, sinusitis, pneumonia. And those who require factor V but not factor X are termed as Haemophilus paraephrophilus. This is Haemophilus aphrophilus, this is Haemophilus paraephrophilus. All based on the requirement of factor X and V. So you can see here, Haemophilus influenza, they require both X and V. Parainfluenza, they don't require X but require V. Ducreyi, they require X, they don't require V. Hemolyticus, they require X and V. Parahemolyticus, they don't require X but they require V. Okay, aphrophilus, they don't require X and V. Okay, so now coming to the last part of this topic, Haycake group of bacteria. So remember this is a short form abbreviation of these organisms. What are the Haycake group of bacteria? Haycake group of bacteria, these are fastidious, slow growing bacteria. They are present in mouth and they contain and they cause endocarditis. H for Haemophilus species, A for Actinobacillus, C for Cardiobacterium hominis, E for Echinella corrodens, K for Kingella kingiae. Okay. So the Haemophilus species are Haemophilus aphrophilus, Haemophilus paraephrophilus, and Haemophilus parainfluenza. This Haemophilus species, and not all the Haemophilus but these three. Okay, Haemophilus paraephrophilus, Haemophilus paraphrophilus, Haemophilus aphrophilus, and Haemophilus parainfluenza. These are the 3 species of this Haeckel group. Therefore, for a easy study, they have kept these bacteria into a common group, that is Haeckel group. Okay, Haeckel group, they are slow growing bacteria and they are resident of mouth and they cause endocarditis. They are mostly capnophilic, gram-negative and fastidious organisms. So you have to remember these names, Haeckel. Okay. So with this, we have completed our topic, Haemophilus. I'm not able to see your faces, so that I'm not able to know whether you have understood or not. So once more, just revise it. They are small cocobacillary form, the gram-negative bacilli, non-motile, and important thing is they require one or more as necessary growth factors, that is X and V. Okay. So they are also known as Pfeiffer's bacilli or influenza bacilli. Haemophilus influenza type B is the most important human pathogen, and Haemophilus ducreyi causes cancroid, which is a sexually transmitted infection. So Staphylococcus aureus produces factor B. You understood about satellitism? This is satellitism where blood agar is taken onto it. Colonies of Haemophilus influenza, it is streaked. Then Staphylococcus aureus is streaked along a line, and bigger colonies are seen near the line and smaller colonies away from the line. So it looks like a satellite. It is known as satellitism. Okay. So they are very delicate organisms. They have 3 major surface antigen: capsular polysaccharide, outer membrane protein, lipo-oligosaccharide. Lippmann has classified according to this into 6 types: A, B, C, D, E, F, where B type is more infectious type. So clinically, the diseases of Haemophilus influenza is of 2 types: invasive and non-invasive. Okay. Any doubts, you can send me WhatsApp or okay. By this we have come to the end of this topic. So what are the doses of this Hib vaccine? Before 6 months means 3 dose plus 1 dose. 6 to 12 months means 2 dose plus 1 dose, and after 12 months 1 dose. Haemophilus aegyptius is also known as Cox-Weeks bacillus, which causes pink eye and Brazilian purpuric fever. And Haemophilus ducreyi, it causes cancroid, and the arrangement of the bacilli is like school of fish or road rat appearance. Okay. So by this, and Haemophilus ducreyi causes cancroid, which is an STD. It is also a soft sore. Okay. By this, we have completed we have come to the end of this chapter. So what are Haeckel? You have to remember this. Haeckel group of bacteria. Okay, thank you. Bye. Kumar से क्या accept करेगा? Bye. Take care. Stay home. Okay. Right. I'll close this. Face confused. नहीं आया अभी तक.